How does media ownership influence news narratives? Imagine a news story about a new government policy. The way it is reported can change depending on who owns the media outlet. That's because media ownership plays a big role in shaping what stories get told and how they are told. When a few companies or individuals own many media outlets, they can influence the news in subtle or obvious ways. This is called media concentration, and it means fewer voices are heard. If one owner has a certain political view, they might push stories that support their beliefs. For example, they might focus on issues that favor their interests or ignore stories that don't. Agenda setting is another way ownership affects news. Owners decide which topics are important enough to cover. If they want to highlight economic growth, they might give more space to positive business news. If they want to downplay social issues, they might give less attention to protests or inequality. This influences what the public thinks is important. When ownership is concentrated, many outlets tend to report similar stories, making the news less diverse. That means different perspectives, especially minority or alternative views, can be left out. Ownership can also lead to bias. Owners may influence how stories are framed to protect their business or political interests. For instance, a media company owned by a large corporation might avoid negative stories about its subsidiaries, or it might frame economic news in a way that benefits its financial goals. This can make news less objective and more aligned with owners' preferences. Research shows that when a media outlet is bought or merged with another, the tone and focus of its coverage often change. A newspaper might start emphasizing stories that support the new owner's views. This shows how ownership can directly impact what gets reported and how. Understanding media ownership helps us see why some news stories seem biased or one-sided. It reminds us to look at multiple sources and question how stories are presented. For journalists, being aware of ownership influence is key to maintaining honesty and fairness. For viewers, knowing who owns a media outlet helps us interpret news more critically. In the end, media ownership shapes news by setting the agenda, limiting diversity, and introducing biases. Recognizing these influences helps us become smarter consumers of news and encourages us to seek out different viewpoints.